we are looking at, on the one hand, we're looking at the literature that exists on carbon offsets and their effectiveness. And on the other hand, we're also trying to go beyond the existing literature and generate new primary data to inform that process. You look at a certain intervention and we want to have a baseline for what would have happened without that intervention. That's a hypothetical question. It's always difficult to say that with a degree of certainty. We were looking at some of the VERA certified credits and found that unfortunately more than 90% of them, of these forest conservation credits under REDD+, were non-performing. And I think the basic problem is that there was quite a wide scope on how you could construct the baselines based on historical tendencies, but in neighboring areas, etc. So you had like a rubber band of baselines you could set, and then most of these projects have set baselines that assume a very high pickup in deforestation coinciding with the project start. And that was, of course, not very realistic. And unfortunately, it has kind of given carbon credits and carbon offsets a bad name, I would say, because the public is already to a certain extent aware of this, that maybe some of these offsets we are buying and supposedly should have a clean consciousness, maybe they're not working exactly as they should. So you have people like the comedian John Oliver come out and do a very much disseminated video, which I think hits quite the nail on what are the problems related to that. Our title is that the reforms are needed in the system. We would want to still have a constructive message about REDD+ as well. As I said, we looked at some of the literature. Those studies are not exclusively VERA commercial projects, but also NGOs, etc. And some of them do have a better performance. So we know it's possible to do a better job. But we think the system has to be reformed in the sense of probably we need some kind of independent certification and verification of these credits. I think it is probably also not a bad thing that people are reminded that the main action in terms of mitigating climate change needs to be at the source. That it's not possible just to pay €5 extra and not worry, right? So I think we are perhaps moving away from this kind of the offsetting type of logic but rather to understand that offsetting is one of those ways we have to accelerate a process, but the root of the process we still have to address here in the Northern Hemisphere. In the industrialized countries, there is a rapidly expanding consciousness about the importance of these things. And so people start to take climate change seriously. They start to take actions. They start to really ask hard questions about the impacts that are being generated. I would like, as an economist, I would like to see that, that the whole carbon issue becomes more integrated in all our economy through a tax on a carbon tax that would sort of make sure that we are also in our portemonnaie aware of the impact that we're having, that is often indirect and not fully reflected. I don't think we can do things exclusively by environmental education. But I think looking at these carbon credits in a more realistic sense is part of that hopeful panorama that I would see.